Mr. Burris, if you would, please.
Yes, thank you. Let's start in prayer. We've got Tim Estes tonight from New Life in Silent Springs. Thank you, Pastor.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Pastor, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Thank you.
I'd like to call the July 7th Committee of the Whole to order, please. Roll call.
Mike?
Here.
Tim?
Here.
Larry?
Here.
Mick?
Yep.
Daniel?
Here.
Misty? Here.
Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, God, indivisible, and justice. Next, I seek approval of the agenda.
I had a question about the agenda. I understand the mayor will not be joining us tonight, but there are 3 agenda items, A, E, and D, I believe, that are all sponsored by the mayor. And without her here to talk about what she wants to talk about, I'm not sure that those ought be on the agenda. So I would be willing to approve the agenda if we strike A, D, and E.
I second that motion.
I think, do we have someone for at least one of the items?
For the org chart, as my understanding is that
Mr. Chair,
please,
may I speak?
please.
I don't believe the rules call for proxies speaking on items. More specifically, it says that the sponsoring alderman or sponsor in general is to do that, and I don't believe, I'll defer to the attorney's opinion on this, but I don't believe proxies are allowed to speak on behalf of someone else.
Farrar.
Yeah, generally I would agree with that based on the section 32.04 item C, which requires the sponsoring individual to move that through the process.
Okay. Okay. So a motion to table?
So all 3 of those will be automatically tabled, it sounds like, under that code. If I'm not
D and E?
mistaken. Is that-
vote called, but motion in a second.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah, so those would be tabled to the next Cal.
Okay.
That's the
Roll
motion.
call.
Tim?
Yes.
Mick?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Misty? Yes. Daniel?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Motion passes to the next, table to the next Cal.
Okay. Next, I seek approval of the June 2nd Committee of the Whole minutes.
I will make a motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call.
Larry?
Yes.
Daniel?
Yes.
Misty? Yes. Tim?
Yes.
Mick? Pardon? Oh, okay, I'm
I
sorry.
didn't even notice.
I didn't either.
He's like a ninja.
Mike?
Yes.
Next, I will accept or seek comments from our citizens, and please refrain from speaking more than 3 minutes. But if you have anything to talk about, please come forward. Anybody online? Please.
serving as the president of the POA of the Benito subdivision. We have in our POA requirement
Point of order.
to-
Could I ask him, the
Leave
gentleman,
his
to
name and address,
put his
please.
name and address on the file?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh. My name is Mark Ram, and my address is 459 Casella Street, Tontitown.
Thank you, sir.
And I'm serving as POA president, and I have Morgan Butcher here with me too. We have an agreement with Haynes Equipment Company to pay in our POA dues $376 per year per house to serve our sewer maintenance needs. And the issue we are having right now is that we are fortunate to have had the money recently to pay for Haynes equipment charges of about $12,000, and we've paid them. But we are not really able to collect this money from our residents, and going forward, we're going to have a difficult time, I believe, maintaining the Haynes equipment contract that is required by the POA that we inherited as owners. And we would like some method of what we think we need to be able to turn off our residents' water if they don't pay for the POA bill in order for us to maintain our Haynes equipment contract. So the other solution that we've thought of is, well, I wonder if we could ask the city to collect just the money necessary to keep the Haynes equipment contract paid up on the Benito subdivision residents' water bills. But what we're asking for is some sort of leverage that we don't currently have to force residents to pay for their sewer maintenance costs. Because I don't think next year we're going to be able to keep up with the Haynes equipment contract due to non-payment of POA dues. And we are lacking leverage to make persons pay. And we're appealing to the city for some assistance.
This is comments, and we are not allowed to have a back and forth, but I will check with, and see if we have any power at all as a city. That's all I can tell you. I don't know that we can or can't.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Anybody else have anything? Anyone else? Going once? Going twice? All right. Old business? We have none. New business? We will go to a discussion of compensation and job market analysis by the ZAC Consulting Group. Danny.
Yes, sir. Thank you. This was brought to me by staff to look at this and see what we thought as a body of going forward with this. It's a study that we can pay to have done that'll look at our salaries here at the city and compare it to sizable cities that are comparable to Tontitown. In their contract, they kind of mentioned the city of Cave Springs, which I think, you know, some of their attributes that Cave Springs has image, you know, they mirror us. But I think there's other cities like Farmington and Pea Ridge that we also identify with in some areas. So I think they ought to look at the whole bunch of cities and pull that together to give us some kind of guideline for salary and make sure we're in check. And so this was brought forward to me by Ms. Jennison to look into this contract and see if we thought it was something we needed to implement. It comes in 2 phases. You pay, I think, like a little over $4,000 to get it started, get it kicked off. Once they hand in the report and present it to council, they bill for the rest. And it takes about 60 days to get that report back, willing that the city gives them all the information they need in order to do their job, essentially. The contract looked pretty, typical to a contract. I didn't see anything out of line. I don't know if y'all had time to look at it, but I'm here for questions if you got any.
Are you making a motion?
Sure, I'll make a motion.
I'll second it so we can have discussion now.
Okay, now discussion. Are you first, Mr. Wagner?
If you tell me I am.
Well, I'm telling you.
Okay, thank you. At the July 7th committee of the whole meeting, of course, Mr. Montez has mentioned that there's a $9,500 contract on the table. After receiving that, I'm familiar with the process by which wage surveys are done. Through the course of my experience, I've done it at 3 different other public entities. And since that time, I provided an email with attachments, one of which is about 170-page something document, which is a Arkansas Municipal League publication, and they do this annually. The 2026 version is what was provided you. This is a good report. They not only look at all of the comparative municipal positions, but they break them into different surveys. The one that I referenced was populations of 2,500 up to 9,999, which Tontitown falls into that. There was about 26 participating cities, one of which was Northwest Arkansas's Farmington. And as a result of that, taking and cross-indexing the various positions, I took the payroll report or supporting document for the 2026 budget and matched the job description, job titles as close as possible. As a result, I've also provided you a AML benchmark, which takes Tontitown's numbers and compares them to the median of the report that Municipal League puts out. The median is used rather than the means because rather than a straight average, you're looking at midpoints which throw out high and low outliers. I think y'all have all got this, but it shows that by and large, Tontitown is pretty much on target with some notable exceptions. For an example, the planning director, Tontitown currently pays in this year's budget $58,195. The median for the Municipal League is $78,500. So about a difference of $35,000. No need to belabor this because you've already got these documents, and I don't mean to be reading what you can already probably have read. But it seems to me like that perhaps before we enter into spending more taxpayers' money to get essentially what you're going to get, that the Municipal League's already done, that's already been cross-indexed, that we can do a comparative. I think we could save $9,500, but I suggest to the council to consider that versus moving on actions tonight.
Yeah.
So I prepared a position paper, which I've also provided y'all, which gives defensible positions as to some of the titles that we've got. For an example, a finance director. We have a job description which somebody put together here at the city of Tontitown. If you look at this spreadsheet that I provided you, at the back, there is for various job descriptions, what the Municipal League says should be considered as requirements or specification. A finance director certainly has a college degree, most cases has a CPA license or at least an accounting degree, and in fact, years of experience. We have no one on our position. The person that's currently holding it, with no reflection upon him as an individual, has 0 accredited college training, and he more closely resembles what the Municipal League refers to as a bookkeeping or an accounting level 1 clerk, possibly accounting level 2. But again, no need for me to repeat what's already been in the documents that you've received. but we have some other anomalies like that. I would suggest that perhaps we take a step back, look, and I did find it interesting because I checked with the city attorney who's not seen the job descriptions we got. Perhaps since he has a lot of experience in the employment law field, that maybe we ought to take a look at these and kind of look at an overall picture before we haul off here and sign off on the 9,500. That's my comments. Thank you. I yield.
Mr. Wiskozyak.
Mr. Wagner, thank you for all of that. If I'm not mistaken, the email came about 8:30 last night with the attachments. I opened it about 6:30 this morning. You're right. The first one's 172 pages. Obviously, didn't have time to go through that. The 15-page Tontitown budget thing, I don't have that. I do appreciate the summary with the benchmarks, and then the zip drive that I don't know how many pages were in that either. Considering all that, I don't mind tabling this, but if when you think of all that you've sent to us and all the work that might have to go into funneling this into a working document, $9,500 may not sound too bad at all. I don't know. I don't mind tabling this to look further as a council. Go ahead.
I'm not sure we are here, but if the chair allows this, my rebuttal to that would be, it would be pretty simple to take the time. I realize and I apologize, and unfortunately I didn't charge you anything for this. So I'm just saying $9,500, I don't know what you make an hour, but it might be worth taking a little bit of time. I realize it's high paid to be a city alderman in Tontitown, big bucks, but it seemed prudent to me to wait a couple of weeks, look at this, and decide if we need to spend the $9,500.
I've got no problem with that.
But again, we're in a debate and we're in discussion. Somebody else's time's up because you still got 3 minutes, so I'll shut up.
I'll yield.
Mr. Montana?
Yeah, Mr. Wagner, I want to thank you for your homework on this, and digging into this. So essentially, you don't have to rebuttal back to me. Essentially, you've done a lot of the homework for us, comparing and putting these spreadsheets together. I honestly didn't expect any opposition to it, but it's essentially done in your report, and it just needs to be validated. I too, like Mr. Washkoyak said, got this at 8:30, and I've skimmed through it, but I haven't had a chance to actually dig through it and confirm its validity and stuff. But I do appreciate the quick benchmark that you've given us, and it's an easy thing. You look at the positions we've got, you look at what we've got on the pay scale based off the budget. It says what the AML kind of recommends the median would be for that, and you've done you've had your spreadsheet do us a difference, whether it's a positive or negative, and it gives you a percentage of where we're at. So as long as all those numbers plug and play together, essentially you've done what this $10,000 study would do in a couple of nights or however long it took you. So I appreciate it, and I'm willing to table this or let it go, and we can bring it back up at another time if that document that you've provided checks out. It looks like you might have saved the city $10,000. So, thank you for what you did.
Misty? Nothing? Mr.
Mike.
Burrs?
Yes, please.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Mike. No.
You had 3 minutes earlier.
I just wanted to
You
make
got
one other comment. I'd like to make these documents that you produced as a part of the record. I know it's a late filed, kind of like a late filed exhibit, but just so that the public can see too. So if you don't mind, just.
I
think
provided
that
them
could
to
be-
the clerk, and she could easily make those part of the record.
Would you mind doing that, Mr. Clerk?
And I apologize for the tardiness of this, but I received the agenda item that was being discussed on Friday, so I had a few other things. I do like drinking beer on the weekend, so.
No time crunch to
Okay.
get this done tonight. So that's all I had for that. Thank you.
Mr. Burrs?
Thank you. Well, Mr. Wagner, I don't know if you give us a discount or not, but so far the cost seems to be right. I appreciate that. It is well documented. I was up early this morning, not able to sleep, and so when I can't sleep, I like to look at numbers. So I've had a chance to look through this. It reminds me of a thing that happened some years ago. We paid $28,000 to a company out of Austin, Texas, to figure out what the impact was on our city. Larry and I were the only two people that were on the council at that point in time, but we paid $28,000 to figure out the impact on our city every time we built a new house. And then it took us several years to actually follow through on that. So if we're going to pay for a report, I think we need to use that report, is what I would have said before I got this from Mr. Wagner. Having seen this, I think much of that work is already done. It looks like it was painstaking. Apparently Mick sleeps less than me. And that's awesome. But I am inclined at this particular point in time to let it die. I appreciate if there are employees who want us to study this. I think it's important that we look at what people are making and that we make sure that they're paid appropriately. But I think $9,500 might be well worth it in the right circumstance. I'm not certain that it's well worth it right now. So at least for today, I am a no vote on this. And of course, we could always bring it back up later if we so desire. Thank you.
Okay. Roll call, unless there's more comment.
Did we
Well,
motion to table?
no,
Did
you
anybody
didn't motion to.
table? No.
There was-
motion.
there was a
Just
motion.
There was a
motion
motion and a
and a
second.
A motion
to
and second,
discuss.
so it's up or down.
So do you want to table or?
There has not been a motion
Let's
to
just
table.
roll, I would, as I made the motion.
And I
would just say,
seconded it. I
let's
did
roll it.
second it.
Yes,
Let's roll with the vote to move it to city council.
okay. Daniel?
No.
Misty? No. Tim?
No.
Larry?
No.
Mick?
No,
Mike?
No.
Next, we have a discussion of a resolution establishing a landfill road excess recovery fee. That would be Mr. Wojciak or Mr. Latham, whichever way you prefer to do it.
Well, I can start, but I may want to start with Mr. Farrar. Excuse me. I think there was an email that we were included on. I think this is part of your response to it, indicating the city has a lot of weakness in this as far as collecting the fee, who's going to oversee it. So if you wouldn't mind just expounding on that a little bit before we even discuss this, I think it might short circuit this.
Yeah, I think the comment in the email was about just the lack of enforcement mechanism in the ordinance itself. Who's going to collect the fees? Who's going to oversee the process? When I look at something like this, I'm hesitant for the city to put anything forward that may be deemed an illegal tax. Right? This is where this is headed. Is if we're going to pass a landfill road access recovery fee, that fee needs to be proportional to the work that's being done on the road. If it costs $1 million a year to repair the road, then we need to figure out what it costs per truck driving down that road to do those costs. Anything that we collect above that's a tax going into the general revenue of the city. So I looked at it through that lens of, I can say that this ordinance is legally permissible, but I do have concerns about litigation risk, just practically, like I said in my email, how we would recover these fees and collect. And is it an honor system? Do we put somebody at Waste Management measuring trucks? I just have a lot of practical questions.
Mr. Chair, may I speak to the attorney to ask one more question, or have you got more questions, Mike? Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to just follow up on that discussion. I think we have received a letter from Mr. Small when all this was being discussed, and they were taking the view of, it didn't say we're going to sue you if you put this in place, but they were pointing out, is this I'm not quoting from Mr. Small at all, but kind of going off of memory. But yeah, the view was, is this an illegal fee or tax? And the only way that that's going to be resolved is through litigation, more than likely, because if I remember correctly, I asked you, was there established case law on whether the city could do this? And you, if I remember correctly, again, could find no such established case law. So we're kind of putting ourselves out to set a precedent maybe through the court system, which is maybe a little uncomfortable way to go about this. We are negotiating with Waste Management. I think some of the study has been done as far as impacts on the roads. I think they are understanding in the fact that they know that this is an issue. And I don't know, Mr. Latham, you may want to follow up more with me or not. I'm not anxious to push this forward to get us involved in a suit, for sure.
Mr. Chair, can I call a point of, I don't want to be the point of order czar tonight, but we don't have a first and a second on this, so I'm hoping Mr. Washkowiak is just introducing his item. Unfortunately, the attorney has had some rebuttal
Yeah, okay.
back, but we haven't had any first or second.
Well, I'll make the
Exactly,
motion
yes.
then.
That's my faux pas.
I got a motion.
Second, whoever made the motion.
You're the first.
How we got discussion?
Carry on.
Carry on.
Who's got, who's?
I'll let, Mr. Wagner, you have something to say now?
Well, my limited law degree, as an agribusiness major from Arkansas 50 years ago, limited, but it seems to me like if I was the opposing counsel that wanted to confront Mr. Farr in the courtroom, first thing I'd do is just file a injunctive release on this. It's going to stall everything. I'll let the attorney speak to this, but I think this could be wound up, stopped in months or years, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. So, again, based off discussion before the discussion, I think we're on thin ice based off of the attorney's comments and everything else. So that's a minute of my time, but that's all I have to say.
So anyone else have anything to say? Mr. Burris?
Yes, sir. Thank you. One of the first questions that I asked about this was, is it arbitrary and capricious? I don't think it is, because it's any weight and that impact on the road. I think there are lots of companies in town that would be impacted by this, everything from, a cement truck, Pam Trucking, WM, Nino's Trading, K&K Veterinary. I mean, the list goes on. There's a lot of commerce that could bring really heavy trucks on our roads. As far as the impact on the roads, to Mr. Farrar's point, I think that cost for asphalt, tar, whatever, continues to slide on a drastically upward sloping pay scale or fee scale. But I think, therefore it makes it hard to say at what point is it, an extra tax, and ACA and various other things have made it through on thinner ice. So I'm not necessarily concerned about that either. One of the things I am concerned about is how we collect it, how we go about it. I think to tell somebody in town, you therefore are in charge of X, Y, or Z, you will collect it, and congratulations. And then how do we police that? Is it just an honor system? So anything that we're going to enact, any ordinance, any resolution that has no teeth is just silly. We're just up here talking about nothing. And I'd rather talk about something than talk about nothing. With that said, I very much believe that if there's an undue or overabundant tax impact, let me put it that way, on our roads in town, that there should be some way of compensating for that, because everybody else is dealing with that, even though they're not out on the roads that often. So I'm not opposed to the idea, but I think it probably needs a great deal of massaging based on what it currently looks like. And I will yield. Thanks.
So
Are we
have,
ready for round two yet?
oh,
I
round
thought of one
two?
other thing. I think we get 5 minutes.
Yes, I was just going to say one thing. I know in speaking with Mr. Latham, the Waste Management gives us $100,000 every 4 years for road repair. And, as Mr. Latham said, at 1.5 million a mile, when you lay new road, that doesn't compute very well, but, I think as everybody has said, if we can't do it, if we have no way of enforcing it, no teeth, what's the use? So.
May I have my second turn now?
Absolutely.
Since I only used a minute, I'm not going to talk 9 minutes. The thought has occurred to me is one of the other prickly pears in this whole mess. Tell me how much damage 40,000 pounds of trash does to a road versus 40,000 pounds of brick or building materials or perhaps Bub's septic tanks. So my point is, from a defensible position, how do we argue that the trash trucks are doing damage and yet the concrete trucks and the brick trucks and all the other things, there is a little building going on, I understand, this town. So that's another point that I thought of. But anyway, I yield.
And I just have one rebuttal to that. We'll stand out here and count, and we'll see how many brick trucks or concrete trucks go by compared to trash trucks.
That would be great if we had that information.
I think we can probably find a way to do that. May I speak?
Mr. Burrs.
The age-old question, to answer your question, Mr. Wagner, 40,000 pounds of feathers, if I've done my math correctly, weighs exactly as much as 40,000 pounds of bricks.
You're a good mathematician.
I'm all right. So, yes, back to my earlier point, that impact, I think if we draw a line about weight, but then, the fly in the ointment is, how do we determine that? Do we put a scale in town? How do we handle that? I'm not saying it's so hard we shouldn't do it. I'm saying it is hard, but we should probably find a way to do it. There is an outsized impact. If we can find another way to figure this out, I'm all for that. But at this particular point in time, everybody in town is dealing with the consequence of big trucks, whether they're hauling feathers, bricks, metal, or trash. I yield.
Latham, your name's also on this. Did you have anything you wanted to add that we're missing?
Since I'm in charge of streets, I will tell you, I mean, you're talking about, I don't know how you're going to accumulate $20 million. You don't need to drive down Deer Valley, drive down these roads and figure out how you're going to pay that kind of money. We've got Zach's crew here to kind of give you a little bit idea if you want to listen to what they have to say. But eventually the city itself is going to have to find some way to be able to pay for the damage that 300 plus trucks run daily, of which these haulers do not pay a penny to access this landfill. And you think it's going away, it's not. So I don't have a magic wand to figure out how you're going to pay $20 million, but that's my biggest concern. And you can see, I mean, they predicted a 8-year payback. Mike, you were on the phone when I had met with Waste Management, delivered them the ordinance, delivered them that haul report, delivered them that pavement report, the core drilling in it. And it's obvious that the damage is coming from the trucks. It's not coming from cars. And so should the local person pay for that? That's my question to y'all. Should the local people be paying for that? I mean, this ordinance that was put together was something that you see in many other cities, including cities that actually have landfills, because you can't keep up with the damage that trucks make. I don't know if you want to hear from Zach about this and his crew, but I have a very big concern, short term and long term.
May I ask a question? Mr. Latham,
Mr. Latham?
may I ask a question? Just so you're aware, I agree with you, 100%. I don't think that the citizens should have to pay for that. As Mr. Artemani alluded to earlier, or stated earlier, we can count the trucks and we can see who has a bigger impact.
We'll just go down and look at the repairs that APEC did. They were all south of Wildcat. If you look at the traffic counts.
I don't disagree with any of that.
Okay, well. I'm
That's
just
not my
telling you.
concern. From a legal standpoint, or whatever, we have to find a way to make it work. And from a practical standpoint, we have to find a way to make it work. So when we look at this, and you say other cities are doing this, even cities that have landfills, are they using this same verbiage? Is that where we got the verbiage? Because if that's the case, okay, then great. Then we've got
Yes,
something there. We've got
yes.
some teeth there. Okay.
I'm very passionate about this. I don't want to see this community just go down with roads that people are going to complain about, and you're going to hear about it eventually.
What? How much
I
does
mean,
a
I mean, you know,
how
we
much does a
talked
mile of
about-
road cost?
We talked about giving them some kind of a fee, 2% fee or something for collection. And, you know, there's 600, I think, what I remember, there were 660,000 tons last year that was brought to that landfill. And that's why the suggestion on the resolution was $4 a ton based on the report that, can you wait 8 years? I mean, we have to wait 8 years to be able to accumulate that. You can start. I mean, I didn't see, I don't know, Mike, you were on the phone. I mean, I didn't hear any backlash from them.
Okay.
Except for, you know, the comment that Blake Small made, and it's kind of a deal, but.
Well, I don't
think-
want you in
think-
any way
I
to
think
feel
we
that
ought
I'm
we ought
opposed to
We
this.
ought to be able to work together with them. This
I agree.
this fee is not being charged to Waste Management, being charged to every hauler that comes in there.
I don't have a problem with that. What I do have a problem with, potentially, is who does the collecting? And can we
Well,
have,
it states in the ordinance that Waste Management collects for the city and pays.
and is there some legal precedent behind that?
I mean, the city could collect it. I mean, you could put up a toll booth if you want. For two and a
I
half-
understand, since we're talking about trash hauled to them
Yeah.
specifically, but it's
Problem
not.
the problem is if you tried to, you know, collect it from the haulers, you wouldn't know exactly how much tonnage they're bringing in there, where they're weighing everything when they
Right.
come through there.
I absolutely understand that. I think that that's a practical approach to be able to do that. But can we, and this goes back to Mr. Farrar, can we only charge people who happen to be on that road that are going to the landfill when there are other people who have 40,000 pounds of
You
whatever?
do that by ordinance.
Point of order, Mr. Chair, but I think there's a 5-minute limit on each comment period. And I don't think we've got a timer on up here, but according to my watch, it's been well over 5 minutes in this section. And Mr. Burris, no offense to you.
I don't take any offense. I asked a couple of questions. I think the 5
understand,
minutes might be
but
Mr. Latham.
discussion is limited to 5 minutes per speaker. And
Thank you, Mr. Latham.
Mr. Skoziak, anything?
Yes, sir. I would like to hear from Zach and his group.
Good evening, council. I'm going to introduce Aaron Smith, who's a transportation engineer that's working with us now, who led the charge on this analysis. So I'm going to turn it over to him.
That's too easy. That's too quick. You can stand up here the rest of the time. Yeah, so my name's Aaron Smith. I work with Zach. He brought me on board to help with this. I've got about 20 years worth of, I'm a civil engineer. I've got about 20 years worth of roadway design experience and about 5 years worth of pavement management experience, which includes work like this. And so what Mark ended up doing was asking us to look at 6 roadway segments around the landfill area. So we went out and looked at the current condition of it. You can notice in some of those areas out there, I won't speak to exacts. I don't know the exact volume of truck traffic that goes to the landfill versus truck traffic goes anywhere else. That's not part of what we did.
Okay.
But you can see one side of the road that clearly is heading into the landfill is more distressed than the other side, which helps tell the story, but that's just something that we observed as we were out there looking at the condition. And so what we did is we took a conditional analysis, we looked at it and saw, hey, what treatments do these need to bring them up? And then we applied a treatment to that, whether it be a full depth rehabilitation, a mill and overlay, depending upon what we saw out there as far as conditions, we put those numbers to that. And then we looked at an overall time period and kind of slotted those projects to see which ones needed to go first and take priority. And so that's what you see in the report that we were able to generate. And that's where the $20 million came from. We used current bid tabs that are here from local cities as well as RDOT. And so that's local that's current dollars. And that was information that we observed from other cities and other real projects. And so that's where the dollars came from on that. And then the priorities, whenever you're talking about pavement management, whenever you ask, like, how do you segment these out? Which pavements need to go first? A lot of times it's a flip in your thought process. You actually want to do your better pavements first because it gets significantly more expensive whenever the conditions start dropping down. And so if you think about having to totally rebuild a road versus just do a little bit of surface on the top, it's a lot more expensive whenever you do that. So in that report, we also keyed those in. A lot of the clink segment 2, which is clink from Wildcat down to Kenny or Kelly and then down to Dowell, where that dog legs around is the worst. And that's one of the reasons why it was the last being keyed in on the recommendations of the report, was because it's not going to get really more expensive as you go and as it deteriorates because it's already there. But we want to go ahead and take care of some of the other segments first. And so that's where you see some of those come into play. But there again, anything else? So essentially, that's how it came together. We've got 6 segments. It looks like about an 8-year-long process, 6 to 8 year long process is what we were estimating on that. And then it would be completed in that time frame.
I really wish you had better news, but thank you.
I appreciate it.
So, okay, you get second by the apple.
You mentioned other cities have such ordinances. Could you name those, Mr. Latham? The other question would be, it is simple enough to take Clint's Road or Dow Road or those avenues, Kelly for a short distance, and determine that since that's the mandated path to the landfill, that those roads are effective. I noticed, though, when we're talking about road repairs, on Reed Valley Road, there's some significant repairs over there. And I believe we can attribute that to the pine trees next to it. Again, defensibility and based off of the attorney's lack of case law, I would have to continue to say I'm a no vote on this. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Burris, anybody?
Lack of case law doesn't necessarily bother me. I don't mind pushing that forward. But I would love to know those other cities that are doing this and what other options that we do have. I think from a road standpoint, we got to do something about the roads. From a cost standpoint, we've got to do something about the cost, right? How much is a mile of roads ish? Thank you, Mr.
About a
Smith.
mile of road, you're looking at between 1.7 and 2.3 million dollars a mile.
And
So it can move up from there. That's just for these roads, which are open ditches.
yeah, and for the sake of all those listening and watching at home, could you tell us about how many miles you mentioned on the report?
On the report, we have roughly 9 miles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chair, if I could make a comment.
One more time, Mr. Montez.
I don't think I've had a comment at all, sir. But I did want to kind of, after hearing everybody's discussion, kind of give my thoughts on this. I mean, I think that Mark's really onto something. You know, $20 million to repair the roads is a big chunk of change, and we've got to figure out something. And I mean, they do have a big impact on it. I do see the contract, and I see the part where it says that the city or its assigned designee shall be responsible for collecting that. So I see where that's at, but I don't know how we're going to check and make sure that's, accurately documented and taken place. I mean, it sounds like we may be creating a position or a job or a duty for someone to fulfill that. But I do think we need to do something, and a easy mantra that I hear is you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And so I think if this is something that Mr. Latham's heard has been effective in other communities, and there's ways to implement it and get that $20 million, getting that cost covered. I mean, I think we should take it. I understand our attorney has some hesitancy and sees that we could possibly be heading into maybe some litigation with it. So that kind of concerns me. But I mean, what are we going to do? We're going to have these roads deteriorating over time, and we're going to have citizens that are balking at us that, we're not taking care of the roads, and impact fees are going to go where they're going to go. But I mean, if building slows down and stops, I mean, those impact fees aren't going to do a whole lot. And that's on existing roads, not on new roads that are coming in, and we're cutting it. So I think we need to do something. We need to do some acting, and, being scared to go forward with it has its legitimate reasons, but doing nothing is doing nothing. Thank you.
We had a first and a second, I believe, so
Correct.
roll call.
This is moved to city council.
Move to city council.
Misty?
No.
Mike?
Yes.
Daniel?
Yes.
Mick?
No.
Tim?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
We have a tie.
Motion failed.
Yep.
I will. We pursue this
I
another
think there are only
time.
two
Bring
no
it back at a
votes.
later
Yeah.
date.
Yes,
I think there are only two no votes.
3-3.
three.
3-3.
Who did you have as the three no's?
3 no's. Misty, Mick, Larry.
Larry was a yes.
I was a yes.
3 yes.
Yes.
Roll the tape.
I'm sorry. Then we have passage.
Thank you.
Okay, then. Next, we have a discussion regarding Civics Plus Sole Source Project. Mr. Wagner or Brad? Brad, would you like to speak to this?
If the ordinance calls for the sponsor to move this through, I'll go ahead and take a shot at it first. So that puts us at item 9F. I think jumped a few there. So we have something in between that regarding, but that was sponsored by the mayor. I'm sorry. Whether or not we appreciate it or not, we've got a pretty competent IT individual standing before us tonight who's also wears the hat of the planning director of the city. I support moving this forward proposal because I believe it will significantly improve the efficiency, organization, and transparency of the city council's preparation. Preparing documents for packets is currently a labor-intensive process that requires assembling documents from multiple departments, forwarding attachments, renumbering items. The proposed product that Mr. Brad has brought forward accommodates some of these repetitive tasks and streamlines a lot of operations. For us council members, one of the greatest advantages is having agenda items, supporting documentations, minutes, and historical actions organized in one searchable system instead of scattered among emails. Currently, there's no doubt in the attempts to give full clarity to allow all of the aldermen's positions to form a position, emails have been required and have been approved at a legal level. This proposal establishes a structured workflow for the staff. Agenda items and supporting documents can be paired. Important clarification. My support for this proposal should not be interpreted as approval of every future software module or service. My vote today is directly, specifically before improving the agenda. In conclusion, the proposal represents the opportunity to modernize one of the city's most important administrative functions. If implemented properly, it should save staff time, improve access to information, enhance transparency, and allow council members to focus more on policy decisions, less on locating information. For those reasons, I support this.
Make a formal motion, or do you want me to discuss?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought that the last statement, but I'll formally make a motion that this moves forward, and hopefully I can get a second.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Let me say,
Mr. Spurlock.
before you discussion, I want to thank Alderman Wagner for sponsoring this, and we have been in discussion with Civic Plus, who is a single source module provider for cities, and there's a lot of cities around Northwest Arkansas in which they do utilize this software program. How this came about was our city website over the last 4 or 5 months has had some issues with it crashing. We've had to reach out to our provider. They've had to clean up some pictures. They've had to clean up some disk space, and all that relies back on the hosting site. And the hosting site right now is underdeveloped. So this is kind of how we got started. Civic Plus develops websites, and this is how we got started with them, which in your packet you have several modules there, one of them being the website. However, speaking of Mr. Wagner, we felt like the agenda portion of this, or agenda module, was probably the first and foremost thing that we wanted to look at, with the others coming down later when we can properly budget this for going into next year. But once again, this is something that's very, very advantageous for the city to organize. It is advantageous for you guys. You guys go in your own username, mark up your own agenda items, comments, notes. You can have all that at your fingertips. It also will work for Ms. Armani. She can make roll calls right on the spot. Everything will be pretty accurate. And so it's also very advantageous for transparency for all the citizens of Tontitown. So not only will it work for City Council, it'll work for Planning Commission as well. So we felt this demonstration was very useful. And as you guys have already made mention of, it's been motioned upon in a second, but I'll try to answer as many questions as I can for you tonight.
Chair.
Please, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. There are several different pieces to this, so I'm trying to find which one addresses specifically the.
It's probably say AAM agenda meetings.
And secondly, they also are next request people.
Yes.
And that's
which we currently utilize. Yes.
Okay. And so the only function, I know they have lots of different, I looked them up online, and they do lots of different things. And I see we have probably prices for all the things that they could provide.
Yes.
So you said it's AA something?
I think it should be
really
AAM if you see that in there.
AAM. Okay. I'll let somebody else ask questions.
I think it's,
Please.
Go ahead,
Thank you.
Misty.
so we use similar programs like this at my day job, and organization's so important. So I see the value in these, and
Yes.
I definitely, this is a good direction for us as a city.
Again, I think the one thing that we're looking at tonight would just be the agenda portion of this module. I know as Mr. Burris likes to always ask us questions if it's in the budget or not. This probably is not. So, but going forward into next year, we definitely want to make sure we can get as much as we can to improve all of our sites, social media accounts. So all of this falls under next request, or Civic Plus, excuse me.
May I ask some questions?
Please, go ahead.
First off, thank you. I have a bit of a reputation for not liking to spend taxpayer money, and I don't like spending taxpayer money. I think we need to be really careful. But I also don't like wasting taxpayer time. And one obviously equals the other. So if this makes things more efficient, I'm okay with that, but I have a few questions. So there are some different models in front of us.
Yes.
I'm guessing that you like the one that is quote Q129636-1. That's the big one. $15,650 initial term. Is that right?
I believe that is correct, but I'll have to go back because, like I said, when I introduced all of this, I had Madeline stick the whole contract in there, and then we could look at different pieces as we go. As Mr. Wagner has made mention of, we were looking at specific for the agenda, and I think it's called AML or AAM or something of that nature. It should be its own separate.
AMM Select?
Yes, yes.
Okay, and then there are other
That's
pieces.
the agenda module
Okay.
and meeting management.
Okay, great. So one of the things I see on here is AMM Select Historical Import of up to 500 meetings. Do we have 3 meetings a month between City Council,
If
Cal,
not
and
more.
Planning? Okay, the if not more is the thing.
Mhm.
So 500 meetings, that's 13.8 years, it's 14 years
Mhm.
at 3 a month.
Mhm.
So we've got some time before we have to figure that out. If we do 6 a month, we just cut that in half. But as I look at the costs, it's really not expensive. It's $42.87 a day for the initial term. That's $15,650 with annual recurring services of $10,800. I know that we just shot down $9,500, but I think we're looking at something differently.
Yeah.
Mr. Wagner just did much of that work for us, saving us $9,500, I believe. But I think this is something that could really benefit us in workflow going forward that we desperately need. I know that we have been trying to communicate in better ways and in different ways, but it's really cumbersome.
Yes.
And really, really time consuming, and I think this would help a lot.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Wagner, you're looking. No?
I wish I could say call a question, but I don't think that's proper.
Mr. Montez?
I'll just make a quick comment. I've looked at this and I agree with you. I think this will help us consolidate everything, and it's a good system that we can, I think we all get behind and help us out. So thanks for bringing it to us and
Thank you.
bringing it up.
One thing too, to make mention of, I know a couple months back, you guys passed an ordinance regarding SQLs for IT services. We did present that out there for IT and for the website. There was like 40 responses for the website. So, at this time, if you guys want to see those bids, I'd be more than happy to do that if you're willing to move forward with the website portion of this as well. But I didn't want to burden you down with those if you decide not to do the website at this time. But I do have them available if you want.
We had a first and second. Roll call.
Larry,
Yes.
Daniel,
Yes.
Misty, yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Mick,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Next, we have a discussion of an ordinance to establish standing committees. Mr. Wagner.
Thank you, Chair. The purpose and need of this is the municipal government of Tontitown has become increasingly complex. Councils are asked to make decisions involving transportation, utilities, stormwater, grants, personal administration, public safety. Many of these issues involve substantial financial commitments and long-term consequences. While we have staffs, engineers, consultants, grant administrators, etc., elected officials remain accountable to the taxpayers for the decisions ultimately we make. The Arkansas Municipal League consistently recognizes the City Council as the legislative and governing body of the municipality. This proposal does not alter that principle. The City Council remains the sole body authorizing to adopt ordinances, appropriate public funds, approve contracts, and establish policy and exercise legislative authority. Standing committees function as extensions of the City Council, providing a mechanism for gathering information, reviewing alternatives, receiving presentations, and developing. Final authority still remains with the council, even though we have or propose to have standing committees. The standing committees have no authority to vote by themselves. It still remains with the council. I think the proposed committee structure, the ordinance establishes 6 finance and budget, 6 committees: finance and budget, public works, water and sewer, public safety, parks and rec, government operations and personnel. Each committee is proposed to have 3 aldermen appointed annually by the city council. Council appoints a chair and a vice chair. These meetings, as discussed in previous meetings, was resistant in that it was perhaps implied that there would be an additional meeting in addition to the proposed 2 regular meetings we have. That's not the case in this ordinance. This ordinance is making every standing committee ad hoc, meaning nothing more than we call them when we need them. I'll give you a perfect example of why I would think a standing committee for perhaps infrastructure would be very timely right now. We have a representative with us here tonight of PAM Industries regarding a tunnel project. There's a lot of questions. I've asked a lot of questions. I'm still asking a lot of questions. But some of the questions I ask you guys, because y'all been here, I haven't got a lot of answers because y'all didn't know. And I think it's unfortunate that's the case. And that's why I think a standing committee in this case would be the exact animal needed to have a work session. Call it what you want. I'm not talking about creating more meetings to get paid more money by taxpayers' dollars. I'm just talking about we don't need to have a meeting to have a meeting. We need to have a meeting to discuss important things. I certainly think that spending $4 million or as proposed to build a tunnel under 412 to connect us to the Grape Festival for 5 days a year might be a bit stretch. And that would be great if it was like the $17 million grant we've got from Senator Womack, where there's no holds barred, we don't have to pay it. Unfortunately, the 412, 112 intersection, we got to pay 20% of the tab. I believe I don't have to argue with too many people to find out where $800,000 could be spent better. Well, just we got through talking about that, didn't about street improvements. So right now, I would ask at this point and would make a motion and hopefully get a second that this moves forward and becomes our ordinance in standing.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, discussion.
Question, if I may, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Section 8, Mr. Wagner, quorum. A majority of the appointed aldermen present shall constitute a quorum. If we've got a chair and a vice chair, presumably those are aldermen. Is this entire committee made up of aldermen, or are there lay people or citizens as well?
There is an advisory resource participants under Section 5.
Thank you.
Which spells this out.
Okay.
Typically, yes, you got 3 aldermen, which 2 makes a quorum. But under Section 5, it opens the gate to get people like a city engineer that might know something about engineering, hopefully, and other experts in various fields. And we would be foolhardy not to engage those individuals in fields that perhaps we're not experienced in. So yes, there is a wide open gate that is explained in Section 5.
Thank you. That was my sub-question. So the question then, and you've answered this as well, I believe, the majority of the appointed aldermen, so of the 3 aldermen on each committee, if 2 of those aldermen are present, that constitutes a quorum, whether nobody else shows up.
Exactly. If 3 can't get together and the engineer or whoever else we invite to the party can make it, we can still have a meeting. So we're not hidebound, so to speak, in conducting these work sessions, I'll call them.
I also appreciate your point that we don't want to have a meeting to have a meeting. Often committees are the place where all good ideas go to die.
Exactly.
And we don't want that to be the case here. So I appreciate, I had a great deal of trepidation, as you're aware, and I appreciate you finding a workaround that seems to scratch the particular itch I had. Thank you.
May I, Mr. Chair?
Mr. Wiscosiak.
I guess my hesitation with it is with 6 committees, there's 6 of us. We can do the math. If you want 3 on a committee, that's 3 committees per council member. So that's a lot of committees. I do see the necessity of A, B, and C. I think D, E, and F maybe wouldn't require as many meetings. The other 3, we may not meet at all for D, E, and F. We've got a Parks Committee right now that does a pretty good job, as evidenced by the Family Fun Day. Great deal. Any thought to just implementing the first 3 on a trial run basis, and let's see how the first 3 go? And if we need to add during the year, we add during the year.
Are you asking me for a reply?
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay. I have probably somewhere around 100 guns in my possession. I probably use 3 or 4 of them pretty regular. I like guns. I'm not saying if we got 6 committees, that the 6 committees, you may use 1 a year. If I'm going to hunt elephant, I've got a 416, and I'm going to use that maybe once every 10 years when I go on safari. So I look at these committees in the same light. If you've got them formed, you don't have to, well, hey, you mentioned the parks. While the parks has a board and participating people, this gets back to the core. The legislators need to be more informed than what I found out in my short, brief period of time in polling all of y'all about what you know about certain projects. And I'm ashamed to say that we need to know more about the projects before we vote on them.
Well, Mr. Wagner, I'm sorry.
Excuse me, one last point I want to make. This is proposed not to happen tomorrow. This is proposed to be January 2027. So any of you people that may not want to come to a meeting, Larry, I think you said you was going to ride off into the sunset, but should you decide to jump back in the harness, this wouldn't take effect till January. But I will say this, and I'll reemphasize my previous statements about the tunnel. We need to call, and whatever it takes, special meeting, work session, whatever, we need to invite all the parties, and we need to get a whole lot more information on what's before us right now. Thank you.
Mr. Burris, I think you had one
Yes,
more thing.
thank you. I'm sorry I didn't address you first. I appreciate it. I am, it's something that I often say, that there's a lot that I don't know is going on. And I think I'm pretty connected. I know that I research, and yet there's a lot I don't know on a regular basis. So I don't love being on one more committee. I don't love having one more thing to do necessarily. But if we're going to do our job and do it well, I do believe you're right that we need to have some of these. And again, on an ad hoc basis, I'm not going to shoot any elephants. I don't have a 412.
416, sir.
No, 412 is right here.
No.
You're right. I don't have a
416
I have a
Weatherby.
412.
It's a little
Yeah,
bit different
see,
than 410.
I love guns. I got all the guns. I've got a 28.7, a 32.9, a 14. I got them all. But with that said, yeah, we're not going to need them all the time. But when we do, it's important that we are informed because, again, we're spending taxpayer dollars. So, again, thank you for working with us to help those that had some concern. And again, I do believe you've addressed mine. Thanks. I know you have.
Mr. Montez.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Looking at this, I think it was a lot better prepared than mine. So I think I've told a couple of y'all after that meeting that I wouldn't bring anything back on this. So I thank Mr. Wagner for putting this together, and I think structuring it a little more to where it can be more palatable to y'all. So I'm glad it came back in this regard, and I really haven't thought of anything that could hinder it. The only thing I am thinking about is that Parks Committee. We do currently have a Parks Committee, and that does not consist of any aldermen that I'm aware of. So what is going to happen to that? I like Mr. Washkowiak said, the Family Fun Day in the park was a great event, great turnout. They did an awesome job. So, talking in that regard, we've already got one of those committees without aldermen. So if we do something like that, we're either making an exception to keep those plus add 3 aldermen, or we're looking at restructuring that group as a whole.
Mr. Chairman, I have my second bite now.
Have a bite.
Okay. I think Mr. Montez made an excellent point, and certainly don't fix things that aren't broke. So if you've got a board, just compromise, or not compromise, but add to the legislative body, so at least you've got the opportunity to go to that thing. I'm not saying do away with it. I'm saying January 1, We just put some people on with it that are elected officials. And so I think you've got something there already working, so why fix it? Just add to it.
I have a request on the roll call.
Okay,
Make me last, because the people that will be elected, I want to get their input before I.
Fair enough.
Well, you're being pretty presumptuous, because I'm not sure anybody else has a guarantee unless they
Well,
know the
there's no
Vegas odds that I don't.
There's no guarantee, but I'm guaranteed not to. So roll call.
Mick,
Yes.
Daniel,
Yes.
Tim, Mike,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
Misty.
Abstain.
Moving to council.
My mic wasn't on.
Yes, I did.
We heard you.
Next, we have a discussion of an ordinance abolishing the committee of the whole meeting and creating 2 city council meetings. Mr. Wagner again.
Thank you, sir. The previous ordinance, as introduced by Mr. Montez, consisted of an abolishment of the committee of the whole and creation of standing committees. Now that that cat's been skinned, let's move on and talk about the committee of the whole. What this ordinance does, it repeals the committee of the whole structure. It converts the existing committee of the whole into a regular legislative meeting. It allows municipal business to be discussed and acted on at either regular meeting. It maintains essentially the same meeting schedule currently used by the council. It does not increase the number of regular scheduled meetings. It does not create a standing committee, as separate ordinance did. It does not increase aldermen's compensation. It does not create new staff positions. It does not increase the city's budget. It does not expand government. Why this change is warranted? The committee of the whole was originally intended as a discussion forum. While useful historically, it can create delays by requiring matters to be discussed at one meeting and then acted on weeks later. This proposed ordinance allows the council to take action when it's ready to do so, while preserving the council's ability to postpone, table, seek additional information whenever appropriate. Transparency benefits. The citizens often find it difficult to distinguish between a discussion meeting and a legislative meeting. Many residents reasonably assume that the council is assembled discussing business. Official action can occur. Under this proposal, the process becomes easier for the public to understand. Both regularly scheduled meetings become legislative meetings. Citizens will have a clear understanding of an official action and when it may occur. The efficiency benefits. This ordinance removes any unnecessarily procedural steps. Matters that are ready for consideration may be acted upon without waiting for a later legislative meeting solely because of the type of the meeting being held. The proposal does not reduce debate, public participation, legal review, or council oversight. It simply provides flexibility for the council to conduct business more efficiently. The fiscal impact, there's no anticipated fiscal impact. The city already schedules and conducts these meetings. The organization merely changes the legal character of the existing meetings. Response to prior council comments. Several comments during the prior talks about adding meetings. Well, we've done till that piece of ground a couple of times that there will be none. City attorney's review. The proposal is respectively submitted to him, and I believe, although he's not a voting member, I think if you will reach out to him and ask for his input, I think you will find he supports this as well. With that, I'll make a motion that this moves forward and hopefully get a second.
Second.
Discussion.
Mr. Chairman, may I weigh in?
Please.
I found a phantom mistake on my part in section 4. That second sentence, it says "but shall." I would just delete that "but shall" and put a period after expenditures. That is just a drafting mistake on my part. Sorry about that.
Can I point out one other grammatical?
Please.
Same section. Merely restructures. It is the intent of the city council to merely restructures.
Okay, yeah, so
Let's scratch
to
that
leave
S.
that S. Yeah, thank you.
No problem.
Leave it to a court reporter.
Sorry.
Good catch, Mike.
Do we have any discussion?
Yes.
Mike?
I you brought up all the points, and I think one other point that I want to make to add to yours is, I think there was some concern that there would be less opportunity for public input, but we're not going to take the public input away. I understand that one of the concerns was the way it's structured now at the legislative meeting. The public comment is at the end. We will move that to the front, and I think that's addressed in a later
It is.
ordinance that you've got proposed too. So I want it to be clear to everybody, or anybody who's listening, or anybody out there, that we're not trying to limit debate on anything up here. This will not do that at all. And to your point, now if someone came to us and we tabled a meeting to the next CAL, or tabled their item to the next CAL, they would have to wait 6 weeks before any legislative action could be taken on whatever it is. So having 2 legislative meetings per month cuts that out. So, it'll be different, but we've made changes before up here. We were doing the city council at the first of the month when I first came in, and we switched it. It seems to work pretty well. I think switching to 2 city council meetings per month, legislative meetings, will also make us run more efficiently. So I'm in favor of this.
Danny?
Thank you, Chair. I did want to point out one point of clarification. It's not merely going on this. If this goes the way I hope it goes, earlier tonight we tabled some items that were going to be presented by the mayor to go be presented at the next COW. So if we do abolish said COW, what does happen to those meetings? Do they move to next?
They have to wait until the cow comes back.
The cows come home?
I mean,
They would go to the first meeting in the month of August.
Okay.
So is this going to take effect immediately?
don't know if there's
I
an
believe
emergency
that's what it
clause.
said, didn't it?
I think we have an emergency clause.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll have to vote on the emergency clause, but
That'll
be
happen at
next
the-
meeting.
Right.
Since we can't vote on this meeting, it'll be at the next meeting, but we'll have to vote on the emergency clause.
Okay.
Thank you.
Misty?
I see the good in this. There's been multiple times, as myself sitting here, that we've wanted to be able to pass something, but it got tabled, or there was a time frame we needed to make the decision on sooner, or even a special meeting, so this could even eliminate some of the special meetings, because we're able to vote every 2 weeks, and I
Right.
feel the efficiency we'll see the efficiency in this. So I do see the benefit in this.
Mr. Burris?
Yeah, I had some hesitancy when I originally heard the idea, and most of that was just based on tradition, and tradition doesn't get business done. I appreciate it. I appreciate what Mr. Artemani has done by leading this particular committee, and I do have a little bit of sadness in letting that go, but I absolutely 100% recognize the need for something like this. Councilmember Piazza, you're absolutely right. I think that we will probably have no special meetings, or almost no special meetings because of it, which is extraordinarily helpful. And yes, now if somebody has, not necessarily just a comma out of place, but if there's a little thing that we've missed, or if somebody's filling in and there's something that's not understood, instead of it going 2 weeks to get voted on, it has to go 6 weeks, and it's just really cumbersome. So I very much appreciate the thought behind it. I don't know why we didn't think of it before now, but thank you both, Councilmembers Montez and Wagner, for bringing these forward, and I'm definitely a yes on this.
Roll call?
Daniel,
Yes.
Misty,
Yes.
Tim,
I am definitely a yes on this.
Larry,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Mick,
Yes.
moving forward.
Next, we have a discussion of an ordinance to amend section 30.05 and 30.06 of the Tontitown Municipal Code. Mr. Wagner?
Okay, this kind of is a dovetail to the last discussion we had. The ordinance before you is not intended to reduce transparency or public participation. Rather, its purpose is to increase transparency and improve public access to information, create a better written record, and make our meetings more efficient and productive. One of the most significant changes is the replacement of routine verbal department reports with written monthly reports distributed by email and included in the public. Simply put, a poll of the department heads all were supportive of the fact that we are all adults and we can read the reports. If it's provided to us in email, it doesn't violate anything to ask that department head a question, which I've done oftentimes. That way there's a record of asked and answered for the other aldermen to see. Again, we're not doing any policies, so that's available. As part of developing this proposal, I personally spoke with these department heads. Again, to the person, I found nobody that didn't think that since they have to prepare the reports, send them to us email is just as simple as taking away from their family one night to stand up here to read a report to you. And since we're going to have two meetings, it kind of becomes somewhat redundant. And therefore, that's why it sets a date each month that these reports, since they're monthly reports, they're not bi-monthly reports. So in essence, nothing changes except the format they're delivered in. When questions arise during a verbal report, a department head's often expected to answer immediately, sometimes without having access to all the information, just like I asked Mr. Latham about the cities. He didn't have that information. In his report, I could have asked, and he could have looked up what cities had the ordinances he referred to. So that makes it a lot simpler for everybody to get a complete fact set, rather than trying to hear people and try to remember what was said. You've got it there. It's easy to do. From a public's perspective, the ordinance is still out there. It'll be online, so they can get it just like any other city record. This ordinance requires these reports to be included in the council packet as well. So in addition to having them, the meeting following the 15th of the month, I think it would have these hard documents, if you like hard documents. But I find digital documents much more easier because I tend to lose paper. The ordinance further recognizes the order of business so that the public comments occur before new business. Now, I don't know how it got changed to where currently under the regular meeting, the public comments occur at the very end of the meeting. But if I was a citizen, which I think I still am, what good's it do after the fish is already fried for me to talk about? So this puts it back where, in my opinion, it belongs, and it reduces the needs to citizens to ask to be commented on agenda items. So often, and why we stay here to 10 o'clock sometimes, is if we got legislative meetings, we need to be talking about legislation before us. I can talk about any number of social events or other things that public comments seem to evolve if you look at the past YouTube clips. This ordinance would put comments, verbal comments. Individuals have to be here, stand before us, tell us what they're thinking. And in fact, in this case, what they would be talking about would be input that we as the aldermen could take under consideration before we deliberate and vote one way or the other. Now, to the point that people may want to make comments about any number of things, that's not prohibited. In fact, and it's legal from the respective position I've consulted the attorney to, those people would still be required to put it in writing. So once again, you've got a document. You don't have to listen to a person for 10 or 15 minutes, go on about, or 3 minutes at least. That way you've got it, and you can deal with it as you see fit. The ordinances require supporting document for council sponsorships. This results in the council and public receive advance notice of matters. The ordinance also preserves closing statements for the mayor, council members, just like always, without limiting those components. Most importantly, the proposal should not be viewed as a reduction in public participation. It's an expansion with written transparency. More information will be documented, more reports will be publicly available, more questions and answers will be preserved in writing, and more supporting documents will be available before the meetings occur. The objective is not to limit citizen involvement. The objective is to provide citizens with better information, better records, and more transparent decision-making processes. At its core, this ordinance is about transparency, preparation, documentation, and public notice. It moves information from verbal exchanges into written records. It improves public access to records, allows more informed questions and answers, and helps ensure the council's decision focus on matters that they have properly noticed to the public. For that reason, I make a motion, and hopefully I'll get a second, that this moves forward.
I'll second.
Discussion?
Yeah.
Mr. Wiscoziak.
There's only one thing that I really don't like, and it just because the fact that it hasn't become an issue, and that's the physical presence required to comment. The online comments are sparse at best, and since they're limited to agenda-only items, if somebody, I understand, because I do have to travel some, that sometimes people can't make it in person, and they might have something really important that they want to ask or have input on. I understand the reason for the physical presence, but at the same time, we could take that part out and just, I mean, we have gone, when we changed the public comment part to shifting it to the bottom part, we don't have too many online comments as it is. So I think with the restrictions on agenda items only, I think we could do without the physical presence required, but that's my on it.
Mr. Chair, I'm not sure what the procedures would be on this, and perhaps we should ask our attorney. But after hearing Mr. Wojtkowiak's input, I don't know if I need to amend mine to strike the language that he's mentioned, or if we vote this, I don't know what the proper procedure is.
I believe our attorney can strike that particular thing out.
Yeah, I think in the past, you guys have passed this to move on to city council, and then we'll present an updated version with whatever changes you may have between now and then contained.
And I'm completely good with mine.
May I?
Mr. Burris.
Before you jump to that, I've used this illustration before, and I think Captain Bowen here could probably back me up on this. But you have received complaints from as far away as Alaska for the ways in which we handle the police department. Is that correct? All over the world? Okay. Right. So I understand that, and understanding that, I don't really want to open up in this world that we live in where anybody can jump on one of our team's calls to attend. I'm sorry, I don't care to hear somebody, from England. By the way, we broke up with them 250 years ago, I heard last week. That I don't care to hear what they have to say about how we do things here, and I very much appreciate what you have to say, but I don't want that input. If somebody wants to fly across the pond and show up and speak, sure, I think we can show them that courtesy. But other than that, I'm not crazy about that, striking that. I would rather it stay. It's one of the things I liked.
Again, we could, if this moves forward as presented, as I originally presented it, well, I guess that debate and striking could occur at the next meeting. Is that correct, Counselor?
I didn't mean to make that my first bite, but if I could have a second bite. I can wait my
I
turn.
think you gotta wait till everybody else has
Fair
their.
enough. You're right.
Would you like another bite, Mike?
Not right now.
I'll take my
Danny,
bite.
take your bite.
I think, thank you, Mr. Washkoyak, for your thoughts and considerations on that, but I think it's well written the way it is, and I like the way it's been motioned in second, so I would stick with that one. Thank you.
Misty? And I, and on Mike's side, I rarely get to travel, and when I do, I don't zoom in on these things, to tell you the truth. But if I did and I wanted to speak, I'd sure hope that y'all would let me talk. So I'm kind of on Mike's side on this, but we can talk about that at a different time. Next time.
Well, sorry.
So I guess we have.
So as if I understand it correctly, my motion was as it is, it moves to the council, and then it's the council amending, doing whatever occurs at that
Correct.
point. So
We're gonna vote on this as is
as presented, okay.
as presented.
All right, very good.
Okay, may I have a second bite?
Oh, second bite.
Thank you so much. Okay, so I do believe that it's important that if we are gone for whatever reason, because we all have jobs, and we need to be somewhere else, that we should be able to comment. I don't know, I didn't notice that we were excluded from that. If that's in there, please let me know. But on section 3, item B, I don't recall, and I've only been around for 6 years, but I don't recall either of the previous mayors before this administration adding agenda items. And maybe it's fine and maybe it's not fine, but as I look across the state, as I look across our federal governmental system, we don't see the governor add things to agenda items, and we don't see the president add things to congressional items. So I see that there on section 3, part B, and I mean no disrespect to whomever our mayor happens to be come January, but I'm not entirely certain that anybody outside of whoever sits on city council at that time should have that ability to add agenda items or sponsor them. A mayor could certainly ask a city council member for such a sponsorship. But aside from that, I did have a question about section 4, part D, subsection 1. If individuals wish to address the city council, they need to sign a speaker roster prior to the commencement of the public comment period. We literally mean like that night, they can sign something that I guess would be at the rostrum. Is that correct?
That's typically how most larger cities do, so they've got a general idea. For an example, in your agenda, other sections within the code, it limits public comments to 15 minutes with a max of 3 minutes per speaker. So if you got more than 5 people, you don't have to split the baby and, give somebody less time or have a vote to extend that. That's at the jurisdiction of the council. So
Okay.
in regards to your point about the mayor, I agree wholeheartedly. I don't see Donald Trump trying to bring legislation or Sarah Huckabee. That being said, there's other sections within the code, and I'm going to defer to the council and ask him for his opinion. Is it better to address it in this particular ordinance or overall in the other ordinance that speaks to?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Before I answer it, section 3B, that second sentence was added by me because there is a current need under the sponsorship ordinance to have everything sponsored. So city staff have to have someone to sponsor something. Naturally, that's the mayor. In my mind, she's the easiest to access for them. If you want to strip that, that's certainly a policy decision that you guys can come up with. As I was reviewing this, that was something that had kept coming up. If we need this language, yes, it can go in the sponsorship ordinance. We can address it at a different time in a different piece of legislation. But to be clear, that language was totally me.
Yeah, I would appreciate that, yeah.
Sorry, I didn't answer your question.
My
Or maybe I
question,
did.
let me throw one other thing at you in regards to Mr. Waskowiak or Mr. Burris talking about the mayor being able to sponsor. I don't think any staff member here, there's 6 of us, and I don't know an individual in this room that's a staff mayor that has a problem coming to one of the legislative bodies and say, would you sponsor this? Show me hands that have a problem. If not, again, the concept of legislators doing legislation, executives doing the administration of the legislation, I think is pertinent and prudent.
It appears I have a minute left on my public comments. Thank you both. Lastly, this is Section 4, Part J, remote participation. It does say there on the final line that oral public comment can be authorized by the action of City Council for particular meetings as necessary. So to Mike's point, if there is somebody in particular that we want to hear from, we can still do that, and I would yield.
Mr. Wiscoziak.
Yeah, I also had a B check marked. We can fix that. One of the ways, when the full-time mayor legislation was put forward, that was one of the things I added in. The mayor could do it, provided sponsorship. The legislation was sponsored by a council member. So we can add that language here, I suppose, or if we want to address it another way, or if you want to strike it, it's your ordinance. I'll defer to what you want to do on that.
And to your point, I appreciate that, but I look at it from the standpoint that if Sarah Huckabee wants a bill sponsored, or if Donald Trump, they're going to go to the Speaker of the House or
Sure.
somebody
They
to
have
move
come
it
to
forward, hopefully.
One of us. Yes.
And that would work both ways here.
Well, if I might, I recommend striking what I recommended to you previously. So I'm
Okay.
going back on my.
You recommend that we strike what you recommend?
Yes.
Okay,
Well said.
as long as we have that in the notes.
So strike out sponsorship by the mayor to the,
The second
Period.
sentence in 3B.
Stricken.
Stricken. Okay.
Do we need an amended motion with that stricken?
I don't know that you need it. It's a good idea. So
Okay, we need a new motion then, a motion to accept with 3B stricken.
I will withdraw.
half of 3B.
I will withdraw my motion and make the motion with the amendments as previously stated by the attorney and conversations here. I don't know a better way to bring that forward. Will that suffice, Counselor?
it suffices for me, so long as it suffices for the clerk. Treasurer.
I'll just clarify, if I may, the only thing that's being stricken, since I brought up striking language too, I want to make sure that it's clear. The only thing that's being stricken is the second sentence in B under section 3.
Correct.
Section 3, Part B, final sentence. Sponsorship by the mayor shall satisfy this requirement for matters submitted by the executive branch of city government, including city staff, should be stricken.
Still not crazy about the physical.
Okay, that's my motion. I hope I got a second.
Did. He's over there not being, you were the second, weren't you?
Say what?
I'll second it.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Roll call.
Misty,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Daniel,
Yes.
Mick,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Larry.
Yes.
Moving to council.
Next, we have a discussion of a resolution authorizing an RFQ for professional grant administration services. Mick or James? Mick, I
Well,
assume.
Since I'm the sponsor, James and I were discussing, I asked James basically in regards to the audit for the water and sewer, which of course under state law is not the audit or what's called a city audit. It is required under the Arkansas Natural Resources, which I think has been moved under the Department of Agriculture now. But in either way, you have to have a full-blown audit, more intensive than what actually the city financials are. And that has to be done by a short timeline after the conclusion of a calendar year. And it came to my attention when I prompted Mr. Clark, the past years have been done by Barry and Associates. And I think one of the other things that we've been lax in is having on file SOQs. And when he asked, did they have an SOQ? We didn't. And so this is nothing more. And I'm not in any way insinuating that Barry will do his next year's audit. That's not the intent of this. The intent is to simply put forward an RFQ, and him as a department head, under state law, I find nothing that allows any state people or department to publish their own RFQs. I yield to Mr. Clark here, who's waving at me.
This one is not for the audit. This RFQ is for the grant administrator.
Same way.
Right.
I'll say the same thing. You need somebody to do grants for you. So
Yep.
thank you for pointing me out. I'm old and decrepit and sometimes get lost in my thoughts.
Was that your motion?
That I'm old and decrepit is a fact. It's not a
Second.
motion, but I make a motion that we do
We'll second
move this forward. So
You've been making your motions, I'm just following.
I overlipolate sometimes now.
I'll second.
Thank you, dear.
Roll call.
Mike,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
Mick,
Yes.
Daniel,
Yes.
Misty.
Yes.
Moving on.
Oh, next we have a discussion of an ordinance vacating right-of-way for PAM trucking. Mr. Wagner. You sponsored.
Well, I think that this was brought to me by, well, I know it was brought to me by Brad, and I think it's pretty straightforward. That Pam has been on a land buying spree around here and has bought up land, and in this case, the older street mentioned here, they own land on both sides, and what's occurring is people are cutting through their traffic or their property, interrupting their flow of operations. And in reality, they're just saying, we own both sides of the street. It's not a through street, but it's being used as such. So we ask that the city would vacate that street, and seems logical to me, and that's why I would make a motion that this moves forward.
I'll second. I have a
Well, we have a second by Misty, so yes, discussion.
So would we just close it? What's that look like? We've not done one of these since I've been,
Yeah,
so would we just
it's a
block
vacated
that
right of way,
road
so
off, or-
it'll be taken out as a city street. And so it'll be controlled strictly by Pam. The one thing that we want to make sure though, when we did the planning commission meeting, was to make sure that the plat, that when it's updated, or the survey when it's updated, does have the utility easements on there.
Yeah.
And so we will make sure that those are still
Yeah.
viable for the city. And so Rebecca's here as well for Pam, but yes, this is what Mr. Wagner has made mention of. This is to close out all the through traffic for them as they continue to grow. And it was approved unanimously through the planning commission.
I don't suppose we could go grab all the driveways we want and use them for ourselves, correct?
No.
Okay, good. Yeah, it makes perfect sense that we give them the land that is theirs. One of the upshots to this, potentially, and I don't know how much money we spend on maintaining that section of road, but we no longer spend money maintaining that section of road, which is not our road.
Mhm. Right.
Okay, thank you.
Is it going to be closed from 412 here to,
Mal, if you don't mind putting that back, there's a little bit of a highlight there, but if you'll, right there. It's going to be Southwest First Street, all of it, and then West Washington Avenue is where it's going to be highlighted at.
And how do we inhibit traffic?
Once it's been vacated, Pam will have to do something to close that out.
They can put up a gate,
Yep.
something. Okay,
okay.
cool, thanks.
Mr. Chair, I've got a comment.
Okay, please do.
The only thing that I brought up at the planning commission meeting was that we're leaving one part of Washington not vacated, unless it's already vacated. Okay. That was my only hesitation
next
was
page.
on that was.
Next page, okay.
previously.
That's already vacated, so.
10-4.
Okay.
Okay,
Yep.
perfect. That helps me out, because that was something I brought up there, and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't think we had that information, so cool, awesome.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Roll call.
Tim,
Yes.
Mick,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Misty,
Yes.
Daniel,
Yes.
Larry.
Yes.
Moving to council.
Next, we have a discussion of a resolution accepting the final plat for Renley Ray Phase 2. Mick?
Nothing more to add to this other than it's been through the planning commission and recommendation of the city planning director, and a requirement of the sponsorship of an alderman is the reason my name's on it. I hope we have a positive vote on this.
Mr. Spurlock, would you like to say anything?
Need a second?
We need a second.
I'm sorry,
Oh, second.
okay, now, Mr. Spurlock, would you
Yeah,
like to say?
this was something brought before the planning commission, once again, was approved unanimously. There were comments, and if Zach would like to comment on this, I know there was a discussion on some of the requirements to finish this out, and I believe most of this has been done. There was some utility work that was causing some issues. I won't say issues, but left it kind of unsightly, and I think those are being addressed. But once again, there were some conditions that we were finalizing. I think most of those have been met. Zach has drove out there to verify that. But this, once again, is a final plat, and to accept all the right-of-way and utility dedications on this. Normally, you will see this in the big, long quarterly thing that I do for you guys. We're just doing this as needed right now.
So we aren't approving the project to move forward. We are simply approving the plats. Is that correct?
Yes. Zach, do you have any other comments?
Okay.
I do have one question.
Okay,
Does this have any, I remember there were some conditions that they had to tidy up some stuff.
Yeah, and that's what Zach
has that all
went out,
been-
and Zach, you want to discuss, but yeah, he went out and looked at this to finish this out.
Did you give them the seal of approval?
I believe there was 3 or 4 items. One was they had 2 ponding issues with their curb work, i.e. it was too flat. Both of those have been corrected. There was at the headworks of their newly installed storm sewer system, phase 1, they had to do some erosion control mitigation. They had attempted 3 or 4 times and failed, so they went with a beefier version this time that's been installed. So they've met all those check boxes.
Has the beefier system been put to the test or been tested?
Well, it hasn't
or
rained yet.
Are we
but,
just waiting?
Yeah, well, we'll have to wait for a rain event.
So let's say, so it's been installed,
Yeah.
but we haven't been able to test it. Let's say it fails as well. What do you think the chances
Well,
of that
after this
occurring?
acceptance, it'll become on the city to remedy.
Right.
Right.
So that's kind of a teetering thing should it fail, right?
It could be. I would say that what has been installed is in compliance with the drainage manual as an accepted strategy.
Mm-hmm.
So
Interesting. Okay. And then I know that Chairman Boards had some issues with some of the rocks.
So on the detention pond, it's actually not, it wasn't actually ground zero. The electric company had come in and put it in a service line trench and left all the rocks out.
Okay.
So we have asked ground zero to go ahead and clean up the electric company's work. But
I mean, and would that fall on the developer's lap, as a responsibility to make sure that the electric company would have done their job?
it should.
Yeah.
I would go out and say,
Right.
hey, you need to clean my pond up. You made a mess.
Right.
But that has been
Addressed?
yes.
Okay.
I'll also, if you go out to the subdivision, I know you live out there, there's still a big, huge gap in the sidewalk from where Black Hills did a bore. Sidewalk's been completely demolished. That's not on ground zero, in my opinion. That's on Black Hills to come and remedy. At a certain point, we need to get on them to fix that.
But I think the only way we do that is we put pressure on the developer to get Black Hills to do their part, and we also get the electric company to do their part. And the way that we put pressure on them is with this final plat. Just like we had that gentleman in here about his HOA and their water issue, he has no teeth in it. This is our teeth on them to do their part.
Sure. It's certainly an option. I would say that would not be a conventional one. For instance, Black Hills comes through, utilizes previously established utility easements on them to come clean it up
Yeah.
at a certain point, so.
Yeah. Well, I'm just giving food for thought for these folks up here to think, we always get somehow the developer ends up buying a house from us for pennies on the dollar and stuff like that. So how many times does the city actually have some teeth to hold a developer accountable?
Yep.
And you guys can approve this, we don't have to sign off on it. so
Yeah.
everything's done.
Yeah.
So I do have one
But then
comment.
does that leave the power in your court at that point for you to sign off on that?
They'll still have to file it.
So then we'll just have to keep our eye on you.
That
We always
helps.
do.
Yeah, that helps.
Mhm. I started to say Mick has 100 guns and one of them's a 416.
And I'm an elephant.
All right.
Okay.
Or as big as one.
I've got silencers, Steve.
Okay.
Chairman, may I make one more comment?
Please, Mr. Byrd.
So my original question was about the plat. I have spoken against this before. I'm not crazy about putting 50 houses in this particular place. Just as a reminder, the average house per Mr. Latham, when I asked him a few years ago, adds between 9 and 11 trips to our city streets per day. If we average that, we say that that's 10. Those 50 houses add 10 trips per day per house. Over a year, that's 182,500 trips on city roads. And that's a lot without the infrastructure to back that up. So again, I understand we're not approving this project, but I am not for the project and I'm not for the plats. Thank you.
Anybody? Roll call.
Larry,
Yes.
Daniel,
Yes.
Misty,
Yes.
Tim?
No.
Mick,
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Moving on.
Next, we have a discussion of an ordinance amending section 30.52 of the Tontitown Municipal Code, sponsored by Mr. Wagner.
Thank you. The purpose of this ordinance is to clarify and strengthen administrative structure supporting the office of clerk-treasurer and to ensure that elected office responsible for municipal financial oversight possesses the facilities, staff support, and resources necessary to carry out duties imposed by Arkansas law. This proposal does not create new powers for the clerk-treasurer, nor diminish the authority of the mayor as a chief executive officer of the city. Rather, it recognizes that if the city expects an elected officer to oversee municipal financial records and coordinate accounting functions, then the city shall provide that an office with the means necessary to perform those responsibilities effectively. Existing statutory responsibilities fall under Arkansas law, which recognizes the office of the clerk-treasurer as an elected municipal office. Arkansas Code 1443-316, 1443-506, both assign responsibilities related to maintenance, custody, accounting, and reporting of municipal financial information. Municipal accounting law, codified as 1459-101, establishes requirements for maintaining municipal accounting records and systems sufficiently to accurately account for public funds. These responsibilities require more than assigning a title to an elected office. They may require practical tools, administrative support, and access to those resources. The current organization structure. The city has adopted an organization structure recognizing personnel assigned to assist with accounting and bookkeeping functions. At present, the office of the clerk-treasurer is supported by a bookkeeper position. In addition, the council has recently approved the engagement of a professional CPA firm and to provide that firm to provide technical expertise regarding municipal accounting matters. This action demonstrates recognition by the council that modern municipal accounting is increasingly specialized and often benefits from professional assistance. Why we need this. Although the office of clerk-treasurer is an elected position established under Arkansas law, It presently lacks some of the basic administration resources commonly associated with municipal offices. These resources may include designated workspace within City Hall, secure records, storage, access to accounting software, financial systems, communications resources, and the ability to coordinate directly with the assigned personnel and access the outside accounting professionals. Providing these resources is not an expansion of authority. It is a recognition that the elected municipal should possess the practical ability to perform their duties that the state law mandates. Internal controls and accountability. Municipal finance relies heavily on internal controls. Sound internal controls include segregation of duties, defined lines of responsibility, accurate record keeping, professional review of accounting practices, timely reporting, secure retentions, and transparency in financials. This ordinance supports the objectives while preserving the mayor's statutory authority as outlined in 1443-504. The legislative intent of this ordinance is straightforward. It recognizes that the office of clerk-treasurer already exists. Arkansas law already imposes responsibilities, and the council has already approved professional accounting assistant to support. This ordinance simply recognizes that an elected officer charged with oversight of municipal finances shall be afforded reasonable facilities, staffing support, and access to professional. In conclusion, this proposal should not be reviewed as creating a new department or transferring authority from other elected officials. Instead, it should be viewed as a practical governance measure designed to improve accountability, strengthen internal controls, support compliance with Arkansas law, and ensure that the office of clerk-treasurer can effectively perform the duties entrusted by the citizens of Tontitown. For that reason, I make a motion that this moves forward in hopes that someone will second.
I'll make that second.
Discussion, anyone? Mike?
I just had a question about the space. The space currently, where do you anticipate?
I defer to the attorney, but I don't believe we as a council decides who sets where. However,
We just have to designate.
The clerk treasurer and her direct reporting, it makes logical sense, both need to be housed in this building. Historically, clerk treasurer has to go borrow somebody's edge of the desk while she signs a check. That's ridiculous. As a matter of fact, clerk treasurer has spoke to me personally that she came in one time and the files that are supposed to open certain accounting records, and Mr. Armani can attest to that, didn't open their files. They've been moved. That's ridiculous, people. So Ms. Armani needs space for her and her bookkeeper to have fiscal control of those records. People don't walk into this to the police office down there and just start rummaging through their files. Or maybe they do. I don't think they do. The financial records of the city is that lady's responsibility. Yet we've to this point, and a lot of things, as Tontitown grows, we've got to start looking at this as how it should be. Therefore, I'll leave it up to Ms. Armani and everybody else, but it makes sense to me. We have office space that will house two people. We have office space that will provide one. Ms. Armani clearly needs an office big enough for her and her sole direct reporting and the files that she's dealing with.
Understood.
Point of clarification,
Mr. Burris?
just so I understand, and I know this answer, but I want to make sure everybody else does too. We have an elected official who does not have her own desk, who does not have her own office, which I understand lots of people share offices. And then I just saw an email recently where I believe it was in Mrs. Armani's words. She came to check on a thing and her keys didn't work for the cabinet. So that's embarrassing. I don't know where and why that happened. I don't know if that's purposeful or it's just ignorance or a lack of something, but deliberate or otherwise, that's crazy. So when I first saw this, my first question was why? And those are the reasons why we need such a thing. So with that said, I'm embarrassed that we have to write this and enact it, but I am for it. Thank you.
Misty? Danny? Roll call.
Mick,
Yes.
Daniel,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
Misty.
Yes.
Moving to council.
Next, we are going to have comments first and foremost from Mr. Wiscosiak.
Just a few. I want to thank Ms. Piazza for the moment of humor tonight. We really
I
needed
did not mean
that.
it that way.
I don't know if it's intentional or not, but it was a
was
pretty
not.
good shot. Thank you for that.
I thought it was very appropriate.
Thanks everybody for coming out. Thanks again to the parks people for a great family fun day. It was very well attended. I was worried that the storms would get them early in the morning, but we had a really good turnout, and I hope there are future events that they can put together for us too. Happy birthday, America.
Mr. Burris.
Thank you. I do want to say happy belated birthday, America, 250 years, and happy early birthday to our chairman. I think it's 25 years, which is next week. Happy birthday to you both. Something like that. And then a couple other things. This morning we had coffee and conversations in this room. That happens on the first Tuesday of each month. Just as a point of clarification, Mr. Latham, will that be happening on August 4th in this room? Thank you. And then because of the Great Festival, we are moving this meeting up one day. Is that correct? To August 3rd. So please join us for the coffee and conversations in this room at 9 a.m. on August 4. And please don't miss the next city council meeting. I'm sorry, the early one in August. I'm giving you a month head start, which will be on August 3rd. Thank you to those that are working so diligently. I know because of the storms that happened on the day of the Family Fun Day, Mr. Artemani and others were literally out cutting branches, removing branches, making everything look beautiful. And that is so above and beyond. I very, very, very much appreciate that. So just want to thank all of you involved in that. Thank you so much.
Mr. Wagner.
I have spoken enough, but I just want to commend my fellow council members. It appears tonight we worked as a cohesive unit, and going forward, a lot of the things that we talked about tonight are structural things that a growing city needs, and I appreciate all of you for the efforts you're looking forward to look forward. And with that, it's time to drink beer.
Danny.
Thanks everybody for coming out. Thanks to the park committee that put together the Family Fun Day. I went out there and enjoyed that. That was a great time. Thanks, Chief, for your involvement there. Thanks to the fire department for their involvement. Even, streets, we had our streets guys come out there with Scott and help out, and I appreciate that. And even heard about his early morning out out on the county road, helping out our county friends over there. So thanks for all that, the dedication that we have here in the city, and it's heartwarming. Everybody have a good night.
Misty.
Thank you everyone for coming out tonight. As many know, I had a medical episode last meeting, and I need to make some changes in my life, and this did not come easily, but effective immediately tonight, I'm resigning from my position as council. I need to make some changes in my life, and the last year and a half have been very hard to sit here. It's been very stressful, and my health is more important right now for me to step back and concentrate on myself and make the changes I need to make for myself. And I hope that y'all all can respect that. The first 2 years I loved being in this seat, but the last year and a half has just been absolute hell, just to be very frank. And maybe I'm just not meant for this right now. So I need to step back and concentrate on my family and my health, and move forward in a different way to help the city that I love. So thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Well,
Can I take a second bite at the apple?
Not just yet. Go ahead, Tim.
I'm thankful for the service that you've given to this city, and you'll be missed. I appreciate your willingness to look out for your health. You for so long have looked out for the health of this place. And my family in particular dearly loves you, and you will be missed. Thank you for your service.
Okay, that caught me off guard there, Misty. And I hate it. But I just have to say, the fun in the park, the family fun in the park thing was phenomenal. I can't say enough about the Parks Board. We just did celebrate our 250th year, and people can talk bad about what we have going on here in the United States, Tontitown, Arkansas, whatever, but you just have to show me something better, please, before I can agree with you. And as always, I left the best for last. Appreciate our staff. What a bunch of great people. With that, I'm done. Mr. Farrar.
Very brief and say thank you all for your work tonight, and thank you to the city staff and council for what you do. Have a good night.
With that, I seek adjournment. Everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.